Good morning, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Thursday morning, August 13th. And we're looking at the last 2 or 3 days of the SPY ETF's market profile here on Window Trader. And I'm going to change things up just a little bit this morning, try to give a bigger picture of what's going on today, for the rest of this week, and next week. There are going to be 3 very important questions we have to ask ourselves. First off, we have to realize there are no sellers in this market. My room knows how I like to describe, especially the first couple of time frames, as a boxing match, who's winning it, and A, B, and C. And you've heard me talk about being in battle and trying to take a piece of real estate. Well, right now the bulls are trying to acquire the most important real estate in stock market history. That's the all-time high. They're within a point or two of it. The thing they don't realize is they're battling nobody but themselves. There are no sellers in this market. Plain and simple. Right? This is for 3-4 days, week longs, flushing out, shorts, piling on. If this was real long-term selling, you think you'd have an open and drive the next day? Of course not. The buyers just don't realize that all they have to fear is themselves. They can't get it going. That's because it's just short-term algos trying to push this, and short-term traders such as ourselves as day traders. And nobody wants to be the first one to take that step. So here's 3 very important questions that have to be answered. Number 1, what happens if we don't get the all-time high? Now, I think the odds of that are slim, but if they don't do it within the next couple of days, then you might wake up some sellers. So I don't think that's likely, but it's still a possibility. The second question is, what happens when we get the all-time high? Is that all they want to do? Is that their crowning achievement? They plant the flag when we hit the all-time high and then they walk away and then maybe wake up sellers? Or third, what happens if we reach the all-time high and now pick up another time frame to come involved and join the party to the upside? Those are 3 questions that we have to look at, have to have answered. They'll be answered throughout the coming days with market-generated information. Remember, we're one-time framing up 6 weeks in the S&P. If you one-time framing up in any stock for 6 weeks, that's pretty good. This is the S&P 500. Now, we are getting distance, so the trend is still fairly young. However, at some point, you start getting stretched out. Now, if you get the all-time high and pick up another time frame, you could certainly go a lot further because now you're breaking out of the all-time balance to the upside. At some point, you'd like to trade sideways and pull back a little bit to repair poor structure, but that also remains to be seen. So those are 3 very important things that we have to have answered in the coming days. Again, it's all for the bulls taking. Nobody up here is selling this. Nobody's, you might have some short selling, but you can tell by the volume is horrible. We're averaging 62 million. Right now, my pre-market volume is 230,000 here at 8:16 in the morning. So if they realize that all they have to do is get over their own fears and get going, they could easily get the all-time high. Now, game plan for this morning. Well, we've been sitting right above the single prints from yesterday and right below the 8-wide POC. In balance, lower part of value, still in the upper end from the 11th day. Again, horrible risk reward right at here. Now, as far as a call play this morning, if you're to pull back, hold the single prints, you can take a call play and then ride it up to POC and possibly the top of value. Single prints get filled, I'm out of the trade. Or at best, below B's low, out of the trade. So that's one call play early in the day. Put play, nothing really right here. If you're to open, take out the single prints, get below B's low, well, then you could certainly take a put play to see if we stop the one time. We had an outside day down the previous day, which absolutely failed. So maybe you could take a put play below B to see if we at least take out yesterday's low and see what we get out of it. Remember, M period, even though it's 2 days later, any acceptance into it, and the odds are you're going to trade a good part of it. So again, these are two early plays. Join CamelbackTrading.org's trading room for only $20 a month. You're getting these up to the second play-by-play calls throughout the trading day. And then chart-wise, we'll look at the weekly and the daily. So this is what I'm talking about in the weekly, right? It's 6 weeks, one time framing up with a gap. Very healthy. You come into the all-time high, right? So those three questions have to be answered. If we get it, is that all they want? And then they trade sideways and roll over. Do we get it and explode above it? Do we get it, trade sideways, and then get another leg up? These are all things that have to be answered. I think for health reason-wise, I'd like to get it, get some consolidation, and then continue bull, right? Markets don't go bull-bear. So that's what I would look for. And in the daily, we're kind of grinding up here, but you can call this basically a balance, right? We're not getting distance away in the daily, right? From that gap high the other day, that was 332.39 6 days ago, and we closed at 337. So, in 6 days, we've gone $5 in those 6 days. At some point, you like to get some kind of nice pop, get the all-time high, and see what happens above it. Good luck trading today. Have a great day, and we'll recap at 4 p.m.